What's up, everybody? I'm Jason.
I'm Bryce.
I'm Tyler.
Today we're talking about Wisconsin's government, so we could get a good grade in our civics class.
Okay, the first question is, what are some basics about Wisconsin, including the year it became a state, demographic information, and symbols, and the capital city? Wisconsin became a state in 1848. The capital of Wisconsin is Madison. The population of Wisconsin in July of 2014 is 5,757,564. On the map, Wisconsin is bordered by Michigan, Minnesota, Illinois, Iowa, Lake Michigan, and Lake Superior. The population of Madison, the capital of Wisconsin, is 243,344. The state beverage is, state animal is a badger. The state beverage is milk. The state bird is a robin. The state dance is the polka. The state dog is the American Water Spaniel. The state domesticated animal is the dairy cow. The state fish is the muskellunge. The state flag is the flag of Wisconsin. The state flower is the wood violet. The state fossil is the trilobite. The state grain is corn. The state motto is forward. The nickname is Badger State. The state the wildlife animal is a white-tailed deer.
What is the Wisconsin idea, and how has it shaped our state? The Wisconsin idea is a philosophy embraced by the University of Wisconsin system that holds the university research should be applied to solve problems and improve health, quality of life, and environment, and agriculture for all citizens of the state. This was an idea that, with combined effort from the University of Wisconsin and the government of the state of Wisconsin, Wisconsin is the only state that currently has an idea like this. We combined 40 university professors from the University of Madison with the Congress of Wisconsin to help make and better the state that we now call Wisconsin. We did this to benefit the common good. Some example of things that professors help solve include how to measure the fat content in milk, how to build round silos, how to see if cows have tuberculosis, and how to keep cans of peas from exploding. This idea was first thought by Robert M. La Follette and Charles Van Hise. The Wisconsin idea describes how Wisconsin's government should be by describing the relationship between the University of Wisconsin, the state government, and the citizens of Wisconsin. Charles Van Hise and Robert M. La Follette started the Wisconsin idea, as I said earlier.
How does separation of powers relate to the different branches of Wisconsin government? The Wisconsin government has three branches of government, just like the federal government. Just like the federal government, the Wisconsin government, our Constitution separates the powers of government to avoid concentration of governmental power. It does sacrifice some Wisconsinites things are ensured to have liberty. The Wisconsin Gov also has Supreme Court.
What are the basics of our state legislature, and what is the lawmaking process in Wisconsin? What is the primary function of the state legislature? The primary function of the state legislature is to make laws and to make important decisions that affect the lives of everyday citizens. What are the two houses in Wisconsin's legislature? The Senate and the Assembly. What are the basics of both houses and the size and term length? The Assembly is composed of 99 members and run for 2 years. The Senator serves for a term of 4 years and is composed of 33 members. What are the leadership positions? The Assembly chooses a Speaker and the Senate a President. The Assembly chooses a Speaker pro tempore to preside in the Speaker's absence. The Senate chooses a President pro tempore. What district do we live in? We live in the 10th Senate District, and we live in the 29th and 30th Assembly District. Who represents us? For District 29, we have John Murtha. For District 30, we have Dean Knutson. Sheila Harsdorf is our 10th Senate District representative. What is the lawmaking process? Laws are brought up to the legislature as a bill. If passed, it is called an act. The acts are laws. Then they are introduced to one of the houses of legislature. Then they have a standing committee. Then they have a public hearing. Then they have a committee recommendations. Then they have floor debates and amendments. and then it is passed and messaged to the Senate. Then it goes to the Senate and repeats all the same processes. Then it's concurred in the Senate. Then it's messaged to the Assembly. Then it is enrolled. Then it is sent to the governor. He has the choice to sign it or veto it, or he cannot sign it and say it is a law. If it is vetoed, the Assembly and Senate can review the veto and have a possible passage over the veto.
What function does each office serve in the Wisconsin government? The Department of Administration helps the government issues and implements the state's budget. The Department of Corrections helps supervise all previous offenders in Wisconsin's borders. The Department of Workforce Development in charge of forming and building Wisconsin's workforce. The Department of Financial Institutions regulates loans and banks saving associations. The Department of Justice protects public safety and serves the Wisconsin residents. The Department of Natural Resources, or the DNR, works with residents while working to help preserve the natural resources in Wisconsin. The Department of Public Instruction supports public education and libraries in Wisconsin. The Department of Revenue keeps track of Wisconsin's taxes. The Department of Transportation helps keep the roads clean and works with all forms of transportation. Who currently holds these offices? The Department of Corrections is Edward F. Wall. The Department of Workforce Development is Ray Allen. The Department of Financial Institutions is Ray Rich. The Department of Justice is Ann Schwartz. The Department of Natural Resources is Dan Bauman. The Department of Public Instruction is Tony Evers. The Department of Revenue is Richard Chandler. And the Department of Transportation is Mark Gottlieb. What are the different administrative offices within the executive branch and the primary responsibility of each office? The different administrative offices are Governor, Lieutenant Governor, Secretary of State, State Treasurer, Attorney General, and the State Superintendent of Public Instruction. The Governor supervises all of the agencies for a 4-year term. The Lieutenant Governor takes over the duties of the Governor temporarily if the Governor is out of state or unable to act. The Secretary of State takes over if the Lieutenant Governor is unable to serve or leaves office. The State Treasurer keeps charge of the state's funds and administers the state's college savings program. The Attorney General is the chief legal officer for the state and its agencies. The State Superintendent of Public Instruction supervises all the public schools in the state.
What is the function and difference between referendum, recall, and initiative? Referendum is an example of direct democracy. Voters determine if the law will take effect. People elect individuals to make and enforce laws, also to interpret them. Voters use a yes or no vote. Recall is the procedure by which electors submit petitions to force an election to decide whether an incumbent elected official will remain in office. An initiative is a procedure that enables citizens to propose and enact a law, ordinance, or a resolution through referendum.
What are the basics of Wisconsin's court system? Circuit courts are Wisconsin's trial courts, which have the original jurisdiction in criminal and civil cases. A circuit court judge oversees the conduct of each trial and determines what evidence can be used. The court can impose sentences. The judges are elected for a 6-year term, and clerks are independently elected and provide management and administrative leadership. Court commissioners are appointed to assist the circuit court and have powers but right under the judge. Municipal courts are courts that have additional jurisdiction over local ordinance violations. Municipal court decisions may be appealed to a circuit court. Municipal judges are elected to a 2 to 4-year term of service and are not required to have a license to practice law. There are currently 224 municipal courts in operation with 226 municipal judges. The Court of Appeals is the intermediate error correcting court in Wisconsin. This court has the final review over all final circuit court decisions and can review non-final decisions at its own discretion. There are 16 judges from 4 districts: Madison, Milwaukee, Waukesha, and Wausau. Judges are elected for a 6-year term also. The decision of these courts apply statewide. Each case is examined at a screening conference which can be decided by 1 or 3 judges. Certification can be requested to the Supreme Court if the case is larger. Supreme Court. The Supreme Court of Wisconsin is the highest court. Also, it has the appellate jurisdiction over all courts, meaning it can overturn the decision of all other courts.
Are the judges of the courts appointed or elected? Judges are elected. The lower power people are appointed by the governor. What are the 2 types of municipalities and their basic responsibilities? Cities and towns are the 2 types of municipalities. Cities are granted home rule authority, and they elect a mayor and a common council. Villages are granted home rule authority, elect a president and a village board. What are the basics of a township and a county government? Towns provide about the same cities and villages, but are just organized differently. Towns do not have home rule authority, but have powers granted by the state law. Towns provide road maintenance, and residents pay lower taxes because of limited services. Towns are governed by a board of 3 supervisors elected by the people. Towns are Wisconsin's version of direct democracy. Towns must elect a town administrator. Counties are the oldest form of local government in Wisconsin. There are 72 counties. Counties can only perform tasks by state laws. They are responsible for social services, child welfare, and cultural services like parks. Counties are a role in road maintenance and law enforcement. Governed by a board of supervisors, a county can elect a county executive or a county administrator.
What is the purpose of Wisconsin's public record and open meeting laws? Public record law makes it easy so anyone and everybody has access to the laws and bills that the legislators are trying and wanting to pass. Open meeting laws makes it so that all people have to be notified at least 24 hours before the meeting is scheduled to happen. If they don't follow that rule, you can't file that you didn't follow the Wisconsin open meeting law.